Hi guys, Miss Leatherwood here. I'm in my kitchen. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about states of matter today. So a little bit of science today. I'm gonna show you this chart that I made. So this says matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. So matter is all around us. There are three most common types of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And these states, they can change. So first we've got solid. A solid holds its shape, and the atoms do not move a lot. So in any type of matter, there are atoms or particles inside, and they move around differently based on the type of matter. So these particles move around very slow, if at all, in solids. So examples of solids are ice cubes, chairs, mountains, bones, rocks, glass, wood, salt. Anything that is solid, right, is a solid. And then we've got liquid. So liquids can fill the shape of their container. So if you pour some water in a cup, it fills the shape of the container. The atoms move a little bit more than a solid. They flow with ease. So when you pour out a water pitcher into your water glass, that flows really easily into your cup. Examples are water, honey, milk, orange juice, blood, and paint. So these atoms or particles, they flow with ease. And then we've got gases. Gases can fill a container of any size or shape. This is really important. So gases are all around us. They're in the atmosphere. Oxygen is a type of gas. I have that down here. Gases can fill any container. So if you're in your house, there's gases in your house. There's gases all over the place in the air. We've got bubbles in soda, helium in balloons. So when you put helium in a balloon, it fills up that space. And the atoms right here, atoms or particles move freely at high speeds. So inside of a gas, the atoms are bouncing around, they're moving around really quickly, and they're filling any container that they're in, no matter how big or how small. So these are our three types of matter, and it's really important for us to know that these states of matter can change. So, for example, water is a liquid, but when you add heat to it, it becomes water vapor or steam. So the matter changes when you add heat. And then water can also become ice cubes when you freeze it or cool it. So matter of an object or anything can change when heat is applied to it. And when that heat is applied, the particles or those atoms, they vibrate and move around more rapidly, and they spread out and move further apart. So it's important for us to remember that properties can change when different degrees of heat are applied, and that the heating, including cooling, will change the type of matter. So whether it's a solid, liquid, or gas, it can change. So now we're going to look at different kinds of matter. I'm going to boil a pot of water, and what we're going to see happen is that water is going to change from its room temperature or the temperature of the sink to really hot, and it's going to turn into that steam or water vapor, which is a gas form. So it's going to go from liquid to gas because of the heat that we're applying to it. So I filled up that pot with water, and I applied heat to it from my stove, and it started boiling, and the water started turning into water vapor, as you can see. So all of this steam coming up, or water vapor, this is a gaseous form, but it was liquid. Then we applied the heat and it became gas. So we observed a change in matter. Now what I want to do is observe another change in matter. We all know what the inside of an egg is like. It is liquid, it is runny. When you crack it open, it falls out and it spreads out, right? Until you do something else with it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna boil the egg. So we know the inside of this is pretty liquidy and runny right now. And if we cracked it, it would fill the shape of whatever container we put it in. What we're gonna do is turn it into a solid using the heat from this boiling water. So I'm gonna put my egg in my boiling water and cook it. Okay guys, so while our egg is over here boiling, we're gonna observe another change of matter. We are going to take liquid from our sink, put it in ice cube trays, and freeze it to make ice. Whoa. So here is my ice cube tray. As you can see, the liquid moves freely, but it stays in the shape that I put it in. If I had put it in a really big rectangular thing, it would have expanded to fit the shape of whatever the container was that I put it in. In this case, they're little tiny squares, so the liquid, while it moves freely, it stays in the shape I put it in. I'm gonna put it in the freezer. And let it sit for a while in that nice cold air and see what happens. I hard boiled this egg in boiling water. Remember that boiling water and that steam, water vapor, right? We've got a liquid, we've got a gas form. We talked about how the inside of this egg to begin with was liquid, right? You crack it and it expands to fill whatever container you put it in. It's liquidy, it's free flowing, right? But then when we add heat to it in our boiling water, it becomes a solid, hard-boiled egg. So let's crack it and see what it looks like. So, we see here, we have a solid hard-boiled egg. Before, if we cracked it, it would have fallen out and it would have filled whatever space we put it in. If I cracked it on the counter, it would have just spread out. If I cracked it in a bowl to make some brownies, it would have filled whatever space in that bowl was available. But now when I crack it, it is a solid on its own. It holds its shape. It still looks like an egg, but this is all the inside stuff. So now, what we can do is we can add a little salt. Take a bite. Mmm. Yum. That's what the inside looks like. That's the yolk. Add a little bit more salt. Mmm. Miss Leatherwood likes her some hard-boiled eggs, and experimenting with matter is pretty tasty. I made some ice yesterday. I put the water in the ice cube tray, which I put in the freezer for it to freeze. So now we're gonna see what happened. So here is what our ice looks like. It was moving freely in our ice container. It was moving around, it would shake. Now I can flip it over, I can turn it around. It is stuck in the form that it is in now. It's a solid. It was a liquid, it was moving freely, filling the shape, but now it holds its shape, and the atoms are not moving a lot in this because it's a solid. So what we're gonna see now, we're gonna turn this solid back into a liquid. Okay guys, so I showed you a quick time-lapse video of our ice beginning to melt. As we all know, ice takes a little while to melt, so it was a little bit too long for me to stand here and wait. But if you want to try it at home, just grab an ice cube, set it on the counter, go do something fun, come back and see what it looks like. This is what our ice cube ended up looking like. It's a puddle of water, right? There's no solid. It was a solid, now it's a liquid. So taking it out of that cool freezing temperature, putting it in room temperature, turned it into a liquid. So it changed matter from a solid to a liquid. So we've learned today about the three main types of matter. We've learned about solids. Solids hold their shape. The atoms inside do not move very much. Examples of the solids: ice cubes, chairs, mountains, bones, etc. We've learned about liquids. Liquids fill the shape of the container. So if I pour water into a cup, it will fill the cup, the shape of the cup. The atoms move more freely and with ease. So if I'm pouring water out of a pitcher, it flows easily into the cup. So water, honey, milk, paint, and more. We've learned about gases. Gases fill a container of any size or shape. So they can fill our house, they fill the atmosphere. Gases are all around us, and they can fill any container, no matter what shape or size. This can be really small, it can be really big. The atoms move more freely, and they move more rapidly. They bounce back and forth in a gas. Examples are the helium in balloons, bubbles in soda, and more. So what we watched today, we watched our water from the sink in our pot start to boil when we added the heat to it, and that water turned into water vapor, what we also can call steam. So we watched the water bubble and the steam arise. So it went from a liquid into a gas form. Then we added our egg. We remember that eggs, when you crack them, the liquid falls out, and it can form to whatever container you put it in. So if I crack it into a bowl for brownies, it will fill up that shape. We added that egg to our boiling water, and the heat, that boiling water, turned our egg into a hard-boiled egg. So the egg went from a liquid form to a solid form. We also took water from our sink, put it in an ice cube tray, and let it freeze. And when we took it out, it was solid. So we had water from the sink turned from a liquid to a solid state because we froze it in that freezing temperature. And lastly, we took out an ice cube and we watched it begin to melt. We know that it takes a long time for ice to melt, so we could see that at home if we tried that on our own. So states of matter can change when you add heat or when you add freezing temperatures. They change from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, and back and forth. So it's important for us to remember these different types of matter. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the different types of matter today. We explored solids, liquids, and gas. I challenge you to find these different types of matter or to create them in your house and have fun. Bye!